everybody, it's me, I'm MattHawes of The Happy Show, and I'm here today with another segment of The Happy Story.
Welcome to.
Hey, this is The Happy Show.
Welcome to The Happy Show.
Hey, everybody. Let's go on right now. Right. Woohoo! Yeah! When I last left you in the previous video segment to The Happy Story, you'll recall that I was going on about how I was featured on an episode of the BBC's Panorama for having made a video that playfully mocked the outburst of John Sweeney, the reporter there, whenever he tried to interview the Church of Scientology, and how that led to me being interviewed by the BBC. Well, something happened around that same period, roughly. I actually made a video in the waning days of 2006 that had to do with, basically it was an audio recording called The Voices of Marvel, which was a fan club recording that was made by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and other people who were members of what they called the Marvel Bullpen, which is basically the roster of editors, artists, and writers. Mostly at that time was Stan Lee and maybe one or two other writers. It was basically their group and the production people from Marvel Comics. And this was fan club recording on those old flexi discs that they used to have, the black flexi disc that you'd put on a turntable and play. This was a record that they had made for the fan clubs, and it was like 1964, I think, 65. I forget, I'm a little rusty on the date there. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to take the audio from that and then put a bunch of images collected together of the different people from the Marvel Bullpen, that were speaking in the video, like say Stan Lee was saying something, because they were doing like a little skit of sorts, and say Stan Lee said something, you see a picture of him, then Jack would say something, you'd see a picture of Jack, and other people in the bullpen would say something, and it would go back and forth between these images, and just kind of give you a visual interpretation of what was being done on that recording. And I went and did a lot of searching, and also had some people help me out too with finding images to match the different people mentioned in that video. I looked through magazines and comic books and stuff and did some scans of when they've published pictures of a lot of these personnel that worked for Marvel at the time. And I looked off the internet and had other people who were friends of mine, or at least people I was acquainted with on message boards, who provide me with other stuff I didn't already have and stuff that I did already have, but sometimes maybe in a better resolution or what have you. And I went forth and I edited and put together this video. And I put a little dedication at the end of it saying to the bullpen, the original bullpen of Marvel, thinking that, of course, they're never going to see it. The ones that are still alive would probably never even check this out. But I just, there's a heartfelt thank you of sorts to all the enjoyment I've been given by Marvel Comics over the years.
Okay, out there in Marvel-land, face front, this is Stan Lee speaking. You've probably never heard a record like this before, because no one would be nutty enough to make one with a bunch of offbeat artists, so anything is liable to happen.
Hey, who made you a disc jockey, Lee?
Well, Jolly Jack Kirby, say a few words to the fans, Jackson.
Okay, a few words.
Look, pal, I'll take care of the humor around here.
You've been using the same gags over and over for years.
Well, you can't accuse me of being fickle, can you? By the way, Jack, the readers have been complaining about Sue's hairdo again.
What am I supposed to do? Be a hairdresser? Next time I'll draw her bald-headed.
Boy, I'm glad we caught you when you were in a good mood.
Oh, Stan, do you have a few minutes?
For our Fabulous Gal Friday? Sure. Say hello to the fans, Flo Steinberg.
Hello, fans. It's very nice to meet you. As Marvel's corresponding secretary, I feel as though I know most of you from your letters. By the way, Saul Brodsky wants to say a few words.
Saul Brodsky? Who's he?
Stan, the fans know you have a bad memory by all the mistakes you make, but this is ridiculous. He's been your associate for years.
Really? We ought to start paying him one of these days.
I've been meaning to talk to you about that. And how come I don't get my name plastered all over the mags like you do?
Because I can't spell it, that's why.
Well, as long as you've got a good reason.
And it was a fun thing to do, and I wish that I put it together today in some ways, because I've learned so much editing, sense and editing tricks and such. But anyway, I pretty much left it there and didn't think too much more of it. I knew comic book fans would find their way to that video, and it got a respectable amount of views to begin with. And Mark Vanier, which is a pretty famous guy in the comic book industry, he's wrote comic books. He used to be assistant of Jack Kirby back in the 70s. And he also has wrote for TV shows, cartoons, and some live-action sitcoms and everything. And he has his own website, basically, and he comments on things from time to time. He posted my video on that website to share with his fans there. And that garnered even more attention. And perhaps that's what has got the attention of Stan Lee. That's right, Stan Lee, the guy, the figurehead of Marvel Comics, the father of Marvel Comics, pretty much him, along with Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko, are the three primary guys that created most every single character that's popular at Marvel to this day, especially from the ones that started in the 60s. And Stan Lee actually saw my video, and he had one of his representatives from PAL Entertainment. That's Stan Lee's new company. He no longer works for Marvel, though he still has some affiliation with them. He has this PAL Entertainment company, and a representative from PAL Entertainment got in contact with me and said, Matt, we saw your video. Stan loved it. Would like to know also about some of the pictures you got and where you found them and such. Basically, Stan hadn't seen a lot of these pictures in years, and some of them I guess he probably never actually owned. They were still published in different magazines and such, and I kind of thought, well, if you're saying that Stan wants these pictures, I could send them to you guys. And the guy said, oh yeah. I said, yeah, I got them all scanned, saved to my hard drive. I'd be happy to send Stan these pictures. And so the guy gave me the Power Entertainment email address to send it to, and I sent it to them, and within a couple weeks, I've got an autograph personalized to me by Stan the Man Lee. And that was awesome. I wish I had been able to speak to Stan directly, but that was so cool. Now, one thing that happened as a result of that, another thing I didn't anticipate, is I was contacted about a couple months later. There's a documentary being made about Stan Lee, and originally it was going to be called True Believer, and I'm trying to remember what it's going by a new name right now, but it's True Believer the Movie, and you can still go to truebelieverthemovie.com, which is still up, which details this. And it's a documentary about Stan Lee. It may not be it may not get a theatrical release, but it might be coming to DVDs very soon. It's been in the works for since 2007, basically. It's been a long project, but they've been it's a passion project. The producer told me, and they were working directly with Stan Lee, and they interviewed a whole slew of people that were celebrities from the comic book industry and from motion picture and television as well, who have all talked about Stan Lee and his impact. So basically, I got in contact with the producer, and she said, Matt, would you mind if we go ahead and use some of your footage from your video on this documentary? And I said, sure, you got my permission, what the heck? And I think it's because they were going to do a segment on fans and what they've done, about Stan Lee. I don't really know. She didn't specify what was going on with my footage inside that movie, but I thought sure. And then she, knowing that I was a comic book retailer, wanted to know if I could provide scans of comics and such for them. And I said, sure, yeah, I can do that too, because she said that they had Marvel's cooperation, and Marvel could send them scans, but sometimes it could take weeks to get them anything. So I was on this network of people that was sending them scans, these dealers that were sending them comic book scans and such for use in the video. I was like, wow, this is awesome. And then ultimately they let me also do stuff with the MySpace page, basically, with the MySpace, the official MySpace page for True Believer the Movie. They went ahead and left me in charge of it, so that was awesome. And still waiting on the movie. It's in production. It's been in the final stages, post-production, really, for last year. Hopefully we'll be seeing it on DVD soon. Now let's go on forth with the next segment of the Happy History. Yay! Yeah!